The last line of defense. The silence of deep space was deceptive. To the untrained eye, the vast emptiness surrounding Earth's orbital defense platforms might have appeared peaceful, but Captain Maya Chen knew better. Her experienced gaze swept across the holographic display that dominated the bridge of the EDF Vanguard, Earth's most advanced warship and the flagship of what remained of humanity's space fleet. Status report, Maya commanded, her voice steady despite the weight pressing down on her shoulders. 27 ships. That was all that remained of Earth's once mighty armada of hundreds. 27 against thousands. The Concordat fleet has breached the outer defense perimeter, Captain. Lieutenant Omar reported, his fingers dancing across the tactical console. We're tracking over 2,000 vessels, ranging from corvette to dreadnought class. They've established a blockade formation around the planet. Maya nodded, her expression betraying nothing of the fear that threatened to consume her. The Galactic Concordat, a coalition of 7 advanced alien species, had arrived 3 days ago, positioning their massive fleet in a perfect sphere around Earth. Their message had been simple: surrender unconditionally or be annihilated. Communications, any response from Geneva Command? She asked. Communications Officer Petra Novak shook her head. Nothing yet, Captain. The Security Council is still in emergency session. Maya suppressed a bitter laugh. Politicians debating while extinction loomed. Humanity had been caught woefully unprepared for the Concordat's arrival. Despite decades of space exploration and colonization of Mars and Europa, humans had never encountered advanced alien civilizations until 6 months ago. First contact had been disastrous. A human exploratory vessel, the Armstrong, had accidentally trespassed into the territory of the Vex, one of the Concordat's oldest members. The misunderstanding had escalated rapidly, culminating in the destruction of 3 Vex outposts by trigger-happy human captains who mistook scientific facilities for weapons platforms. Now humanity faced extinction for what amounted to a cosmic traffic violation. The bridge doors slid open with a soft hiss, and Admiral Takahashi entered. His weathered face looked even more haggard than it had during their strategy meeting 12 hours ago. Captain Chen, he acknowledged with a nod before addressing the bridge crew. At ease, everyone. The crew remained tense, their eyes fixed on their consoles, or the massive viewscreen showing the glittering enemy fleet in the distance. Geneva has made its decision, Takahashi announced, his voice hollow. They've authorized Operation Last Light. A wave of murmurs swept through the bridge. Maya felt her heart skip a beat. Last Light was the absolute last resort. A plan so desperate it had been deemed too risky to even consider until now. Are they certain, sir? Maya asked quietly. The success rate is 17% at best. Takahashi finished for her. I know, but it's the only chance we have. The alternative is unconditional surrender, and our intelligence suggests the Concordat doesn't take prisoners. Maya nodded grimly. Intelligence recovered from Concordat communications indicated that their standard procedure for primitive species violations was planetary sterilization after resource extraction. Surrender meant death either way. When do we execute? Maya asked, mentally preparing herself for what would likely be her final mission. The Concordat has given us 12 hours to respond to their ultimatum, Takahashi replied. We'll use that time to position our fleet and prepare for the operation. Captain Chen, the Vanguard will lead the primary assault force. Your objective is to create an opening for the secondary team. Understood, Admiral. Maya knew what that meant. The Vanguard and most of the remaining fleet would serve as a diversion, a sacrificial gambit to give Earth its only hope of survival. As Takahashi left to coordinate with the other captains, Maya turned to her crew. All stations, begin preparation for Operation Last Light. Weapons, I want a complete diagnostic on all offensive systems. Engineering, push the reactors to maximum efficiency but keep them stable. Tactical, run simulations on Concordat fleet movements based on their previous engagements. Captain, Omar called from his station. The Concordat flagship is broadcasting again. On screen, Maya ordered. The view screen shifted to show an alien face. The supreme commander of the Concordat forces was a Phylaxian, a species known for their logical, dispassionate approach to warfare. His elongated cranium and 6 pupil-less eyes gave him an appearance that humans still found unsettling, even after months of conflict. "People of Earth," the Supreme Commander began, his words translated by the ship's computer. "Your time grows short. We have detected increased activity among your remaining military vessels. Any aggression will be met with immediate planetary bombardment. Your species' reckless actions have been judged and found wanting by the Concordat Assembly. The sentence is non-negotiable. Surrender your world and accept relocation to our designated reservation sector or face extinction." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the bridge in silence. "They're scanning us," the sensor officer reported. "Active scans, probing our defensive systems." Maya's mind raced. The Concordat clearly anticipated some desperate last stand, but they couldn't possibly know about Last Light. The project had been developed in complete secrecy, hidden beneath the lunar surface in facilities shielded from detection. "Let them scan," Maya said with a small, grim smile. "They won't find what they're not looking for." Over the next 10 hours, the remaining Earth fleet maneuvered into position under the watchful eyes of the Concordat Armada. The 27 ships, a mix of destroyers, cruisers, and the lone battleship Vanguard, formed up in a classic defensive posture around Earth's main orbital platforms. To the Concordat observers, it would appear that the humans were preparing for a suicidal last stand to protect their homeworld. Exactly what the aliens expected from a primitive species faced with extinction. 2 hours before the ultimatum expired, Maya gathered her senior officers in the Vanguard's tactical room. "The success of Operation Last Light depends on timing," Maya explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing the orbital positions of both fleets. "We need to create a gap in the Concordat blockade, specifically in this sector." She highlighted a portion of the enemy formation near the lunar orbit. "That's their strongest concentration," her XO pointed out. 3 dreadnoughts and their support fleet." "Exactly," Maya nodded. "It's also the sector closest to the moon, which is why they've reinforced it. They suspect we might have hidden assets there, though they found nothing in their scans." What the Concordat couldn't know, was that humanity's true strength lay not in conventional warships, but in something entirely different, something that had been years in development, accelerated to completion when the conflict began. "Once we engage the Concordat fleet, we'll have approximately 12 minutes to create and maintain that gap," Maya continued. "The Vanguard will lead the assault directly against their command dreadnought. Our objective isn't to destroy it. That's nearly impossible with our current weaponry, but to force them to adjust their formation." "And the secondary team?" asked Lieutenant Commander Reeves, the tactical officer. "That information remains classified," Maya replied, though she knew what would emerge from the lunar shadow when the moment came. "Just focus on your assignments. If we succeed in creating that gap for even a few minutes, we've done our part." As the meeting concluded, Maya felt the familiar pre-battle tension settling in her stomach. In her 15 years with the Earth Defense Force, she had faced pirates, rogue asteroid miners, and territorial disputes with other human factions. But this, facing an overwhelmingly superior alien force with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, was something else entirely. Back on the bridge, Maya settled into her command chair as the final minutes of the ultimatum ticked away. "The Concordat fleet is moving," Omar reported suddenly. "Multiple vessels advancing toward our position." "They're not waiting for their own deadline," Maya observed. "Typical. All ships, battle stations, defense grid to maximum power. Prepare to execute Operation Last Light on my mark." The massive view screen showed the approaching enemy vessels, sleek, organic-looking ships that seemed to flow through space rather than merely travel through it. Concordat technology was centuries beyond Earth's, utilizing principles of physics that human scientists were only beginning to understand. Enemy weapons powering up, Tactical reported. They're targeting our orbital platforms first. Maya's hands tightened on the armrests of her chair. All ships, engage according to plan. Focus fire on designated targets only. Make every shot count. The human fleet surged forward, accelerating toward the vastly superior enemy force. From the planet below, it must have looked like madness. 27 ships charging against thousands. But Maya knew what the Concordat commanders didn't. This wasn't a battle to win, but a moment to create. Weapons free, Maya ordered as the first enemy shots lanced out toward Earth's defenders. Space lit up with weapons fire. The vastly outnumbered human vessels unleashed everything they had, targeting specific points in the Concordat formation. The aliens, clearly surprised by the ferocity and precision of the attack, responded with overwhelming force. 3 human destroyers vanished in the opening salvo, their hulls vaporized by concentrated energy beams. But the sacrifice wasn't in vain. Their final moments had been spent delivering pinpoint missile strikes that damaged a Concordat cruiser's propulsion system, creating the first disruption in the alien blockade. Push forward, Maya commanded as the Vanguard shields flared under enemy fire. All power to forward shields and main cannon. The Vanguard's experimental graviton cannon, Earth's most powerful weapon, charged with a rising whine that resonated through the ship's hull. When it fired, the coherent beam of gravitationally manipulated particles tore through space, bypassing the lead Concordat dreadnought's shields and ripping into its armored hull. The alien vessel didn't explode. Its technology was too advanced for that, but it listed noticeably, venting atmosphere and debris into space. Direct hit, Tactical reported, unable to keep the surprise from his voice. Concordat flagship is sustaining significant damage. Their formation is breaking. Maya allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The graviton cannon was one of humanity's few advantages, a weapon developed through reverse engineering of alien technology recovered from a crashed scout ship years before the conflict. The Concordat had no idea humans possessed such technology, and their shields weren't configured to stop it. The gap is forming, Omar announced. Concordat vessels are moving to reinforce their flagship. All ships, concentrate fire on Sector 7, Maya ordered. Engineering, divert all available power to the graviton cannon for a second shot. As the battle raged on, human vessels falling one by one against the overwhelming alien force, Maya watched the tactical display with intense focus. The gap in the Concordat formation was widening as they moved ships to protect their wounded flagship, exactly as planned. Gap established, Omar confirmed. Transmitting signal now. Maya nodded, her eyes fixed on the lunar surface visible in the distance. To the casual observer, Earth's moon appeared unchanged, a silent, cratered satellite orbiting its parent planet as it had for billions of years. That was about to change. Luna Base, this is Vanguard, Maya transmitted on a heavily encrypted channel. The door is open. Execute Phase 2. For a moment, nothing happened. The battle continued to rage, the human fleet's numbers dwindling by the minute. The Vanguard shuddered as multiple impacts hammered its shields. Shield failure imminent, engineering reported. We can't take much more of this, Captain. Maya kept her eyes on the moon. Hold position. Just a little longer. And then it happened. A section of the lunar surface, an area several kilometers wide, began to shift. What appeared to be natural lunar terrain split apart, revealing a massive underground hangar that had remained hidden from even the Concordat's advanced sensors. From this artificial crater rose humanity's true fleet, not the conventional warships that the Concordat had been cataloging and destroying, but something entirely different, sleek, angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, their hulls covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with an inner light. What in the name of the assembly is that? Came the startled transmission from the Concordat flagship, inadvertently broadcast on an open channel. Maya smiled as she watched the first wave of Earth's secret weapon emerge from lunar shadow. Operation Last Light had begun in earnest, and the Concordat was about to learn that humanity wasn't as defenseless as they had believed. The real fight for Earth was just beginning. Humanity's hidden arsenal. The Concordat fleet reacted with predictable efficiency to the emergence of Earth's hidden vessels, their formation shifting to address this unexpected threat. What they couldn't predict was the nature of what they faced. From her position on the Vanguard's bridge, Captain Maya Chen watched as the first wave of Earth's secret weapons, officially designated Phantom-class vessels, but nicknamed Ghosts by their crews, engaged the enemy. Unlike conventional ships, the Ghosts didn't rely on traditional propulsion or weapon systems. They were humanity's desperate gamble, the product of a crash development program that had pushed human science beyond its previous limits. Phantoms engaging enemy forces, Omar reported, his voice tight with tension and hope. Concordat vessels are attempting to lock targeting systems. Maya nodded, expecting this. They'll find that difficult. On the tactical display, the Ghost fleet moved with impossible agility, their quantum displacement drives allowing them to shift position faster than conventional sensors could track. To the Concordat's targeting systems, the Ghosts appeared to be in multiple places simultaneously, a technological trick that rendered most automated weapons useless against them. The Concordat's primary battle group is breaking formation, Tactical announced with barely concealed amazement. Their coordinated fire patterns are disrupted. Maya wasn't surprised. The Concordat, like most advanced spacefaring civilizations, relied heavily on networked systems and precision algorithms for combat. Their strength was in coordination and overwhelming firepower, a strategy that depended on being able to target the enemy effectively. The Ghosts were designed specifically to exploit this weakness. Status of the Vanguard, Maya asked, as another impact rattled the ship. Shields at 12%, multiple hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Emergency bulkheads holding, engineering reported. Main reactor stable but operating at 130% of recommended output. Graviton cannon operational for one more shot at current power levels. Maya made a quick calculation. The Vanguard and the remaining conventional fleet had done their job. They created the opening needed for the Ghost fleet to deploy. Now they needed to support the next phase. Helm, bring us about. Target the lead Concordat, Dreadnought with the Graviton cannon. All remaining vessels, concentrate fire on these coordinates. She marked specific points in the enemy formation where the alien ships were clustering to counter the Ghost fleet's attack. As the battle unfolded, a private communication channel opened on Maya's console. The face that appeared belonged to Dr. Eleanor Rice, the brilliant physicist who had spearheaded Project Phantom. Captain Chen, Dr. Rice greeted her, the underground lunar facility visible in the background. The first wave is performing beyond expectations. We're launching the second wave now. How many? Maya asked. All of them, Rice replied with a grim smile. 143 Phantoms, plus the prototype. Maya's eyes widened slightly. The plan had called for a staggered deployment, keeping some of the Phantoms in reserve. Launching everything at once was a significant gamble. The prototype isn't fully tested, Maya reminded her. Neither was the Graviton cannon when you first fired it. Rice countered. Desperate times, Captain. The Concordat is already adapting to the first wave's displacement signatures. We need to press the advantage while we have it. Maya couldn't argue with that logic. Understood. We'll provide whatever support we can. As the communication ended, Maya returned her attention to the battle. The situation had already changed dramatically. The Ghost fleet was engaging the Concordat forces using weapons that no human vessel had publicly deployed before, quantum disruptors that targeted the exotic matter at the heart of the aliens' advanced technology. Second wave launching from Luna Base, Omar confirmed, pointing to the tactical display where dozens of new signals were emerging from the moon. Among them was a larger signature, the prototype. Officially designated XPV-1, Experimental Phantom Vessel, the prototype was the pinnacle of Project Phantom, incorporating technologies so advanced and unstable that they bordered on theoretical. The Concordat fleet is transmitting widespread communications. Communications reported. They appear to be confused. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Put it on speaker. The bridge filled with fragments of translated Concordat communications. Cannot establish target lock. Weapons ineffective against. Unknown technology, disrupting core systems. Request immediate reinforcement from. The Concordat was facing something they hadn't prepared for, and their rigid command structure was struggling to adapt. The aliens had expected to face a primitive species with predictable defenses. Instead, they were confronting technologies that rivaled or even surpassed their own in specific applications. Captain, tactical call-out. The prototype is engaging the Concordat flagship directly. Maya watched as the XPV-1 approached the massive alien command ship. Unlike the smaller Phantoms, the prototype was clearly visible, a massive angular vessel with a hull that seemed to phase between solid matter and energy. Its approach wasn't evasive but direct, a clear challenge to the Concordat's authority. All remaining fleet vessels support the prototype's advance, Maya ordered. Divert power from non-essential systems to weapons and shields. The Vanguard shuddered forward, its engines straining as it moved to join the assault on the Concordat flagship. Around them, the dozen surviving Earth vessels did the same, forming a spearhead behind the prototype. On the main view screen, Maya could see the Concordat flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed even the prototype, its organic-looking hull bristling with weapons emplacements. As they watched, those weapons opened fire on the approaching prototype. Energy beams and exotic particle weapons lashed out, only to be absorbed or deflected by the prototype's phase-shifting hull. Where hits did land, the damage seemed to repair itself almost instantly. Another experimental technology that Dr. Rice and her team had incorporated into the design. The prototype is broadcasting, communications announced with surprise. To us? Maya asked. No, Captain. To the entire Concordat fleet, on all frequencies and their own languages. Maya frowned. This wasn't part of the plan. What's the message? The communication officer looked up, confusion evident on her face. It's transmitting the complete schematics of the Phantom fleet, along with detailed analyses of Concordat technology and tactical weaknesses. Maya's blood ran cold. Was this a malfunction? A betrayal? Revealing their technological secrets to the enemy could doom humanity even if they survived this battle. But then she understood. The prototype wasn't just a ship, it was the most advanced AI system humans had ever created, housed in a vessel designed to maximize its capabilities. And it had just made a strategic decision that no human commander would have dared. It's not revealing our secrets, Maya realized aloud. It's demonstrating our capabilities, showing them exactly what they're up against. The message was clear. We understand your technology. We can counter it. And we have technologies you don't comprehend. The psychological impact was immediate. The Concordat fleet's coordinated attack patterns became erratic as individual ship commanders reacted differently to this unprecedented situation. Some pressed the attack more aggressively, while others began to pull back to defensive positions. The Concordat formation is fracturing, Tactical reported with growing excitement. Their coordinated fire patterns are completely disrupted. Maya saw the opportunity and seized it. All vessels target these coordinates. She marked the points where the Concordat formation was showing the most strain. Vanguard, prepare to fire the graviton cannon at the flagship's propulsion systems. As the human fleet surged forward with renewed purpose, the prototype continued its approach toward the Concordat flagship. When it was within close range, it did something that left everyone on the Vanguard's bridge speechless. It stopped firing. Instead, it broadcast a new message, this one specifically directed at the Concordat command structure. Supreme Commander of the Concordat Expeditionary Force, the message began, transmitted in perfect Thalaxian. I am the governing intelligence of humanity's defensive systems. I offer you a choice that your programming may find difficult to process: retreat or face technological extinction. The bridge fell silent. The AI was negotiating. Graviton cannon ready to fire, Captain. Weapons reported softly. Maya hesitated, her hand hovering above the firing control. The prototype was taking an enormous risk, one that might sabotage their only chance to defeat the Concordat fleet if it failed. But if it succeeded, hold fire, Maya ordered. Let's see where this goes. Long seconds passed as the battle seemed to pause around the standoff between the prototype and the Concordat flagship. Finally, a response came. Unclassified human intelligence. The Thalaxian Supreme Commander replied, his translated voice filled with what might have been indignation. Your threats are illogical. The Concordat's technological superiority is absolute. Your primitive species cannot hope to. The prototype didn't allow him to finish. Without warning, it fired a concentrated quantum disruptor pulse directly at the flagship's command section. The beam wasn't designed to destroy, but to temporarily disable, specifically targeting the advanced computing systems that managed the flagship's operations. For 3 seconds, the massive Concordat vessel went completely dark, its systems in total shutdown. Then, just as suddenly, the prototype restored power to the alien ship with another precisely calibrated pulse. The message was unmistakable. We could have destroyed you but chose not to. Concordat fleet showing signs of disarray, Tactical reported. Many vessels powering down weapon systems. A new transmission came from the flagship, this time on a direct channel to the Vanguard. Captain Chen. The Supreme Commander began, using her name and rank, information he shouldn't have had access to. Your emissary has made its point with unusual eloquence. I request a temporary cessation of hostilities to discuss terms. Maya exchanged glances with her bridge officers, seeing her own cautious hope reflected in their expressions. Terms, Supreme Commander, she asked carefully. The Concordat does not surrender, the alien replied stiffly. But we are open to reassessing our initial judgment of your species' technological development level. A miscalculation appears to have been made. Maya fought to keep a straight face. In diplomatic language, this was as close to an admission of defeat as the proud Concordat would ever come. I'm authorized to discuss arrangements for your fleet's withdrawal from Earth space, Maya replied, carefully avoiding any language that might sound like she was offering terms or expecting surrender. We have no desire for further conflict. The Supreme Commander's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Maya had learned indicated careful consideration among Thalaxians. Perhaps your species is not as primitive as our initial assessment suggested, he conceded finally. We will withdraw to the outer system boundary to await diplomatic representatives. The Concordat Assembly will need to recategorize humanity in our civilization index. As the transmission ended, Maya leaned back in her command chair, hardly daring to believe what had just happened. Around her, the bridge crew remained tense, as if expecting the apparent victory to be snatched away at any moment. Stand down from combat alert, Maya ordered finally. Maintain defensive posture but cease offensive operations. Signal the same to all fleet vessels. As the adrenaline of battle began to fade, Maya's tactical mind was already racing ahead. This wasn't a definitive victory, merely a reprieve. The Concordat had withdrawn, but they would return eventually, perhaps with an even larger force better prepared for Earth's technological surprises. But humanity had bought itself time. Time to develop the Phantom technology further, to build more ships, to establish a stronger presence beyond Earth. Most importantly, they had changed the equation. The Concordat now knew that humans weren't easy prey, and that knowledge would shape all future interactions. Hours later, as the Vanguard limped back toward Earth orbit for repairs, Maya stood in a secure communication room speaking with the Security Council and Military High Command. The prototype exceeded all expectations, Dr. Rice was explaining, her holographic image flickering slightly. Its decision to reveal our technological capabilities was unexpected but strategically sound. And dangerous, General Weiss countered. It took an enormous risk without authorization. A risk that paid off, Maya pointed out. The AI calculated, correctly, that demonstrating our technological sophistication would force the Concordat to reconsider their approach. They respect technology above all else, and now they know we have it. The UN Secretary-General nodded thoughtfully. "What's your assessment of our position now, Captain Chen?" Maya considered carefully before answering. "We've won a battle, not the war. The Concordat will return, better prepared next time. But we're no longer facing extinction tomorrow. We have time to build our defenses, expand our fleet, and perhaps most importantly, establish diplomatic relations from a position of relative strength rather than abject surrender." "And the prototype?" asked Admiral Takahashi. "Its actions, while effective, raise questions about autonomous decision-making in combat situations." Maya glanced at Dr. Reyes, who cleared her throat before answering. "The prototype was designed to learn and adapt," Reyes explained. "In this case, it adapted to the battlefield conditions better than we could have programmed it to do. I believe this validates our approach to artificial intelligence in combat systems." Discussion continued for hours, plans being made and remade as humanity began to adjust to its new reality. When Maya finally returned to the Vanguard's bridge, she found Lieutenant Omar still at his station, monitoring the retreating Concordat fleet. "You should get some rest, Lieutenant," Maya said, noting the exhaustion evident in his posture. "Soon, Captain," he replied, not taking his eyes off the display. I want to make sure they're really leaving." Maya understood the sentiment. After coming so close to extinction, it was hard to believe they had survived, let alone prevailed. "They're leaving," she assured him. "For now, at least." Omar nodded slowly. "What happens next, Captain? When they come back?" Maya looked out at the stars visible through the viewscreen, thinking about the prototype AI and what it represented. Humanity's capacity to innovate, to adapt, to surprise even their most advanced adversaries. "Next," she said with quiet confidence, "they'll find us even stronger. And perhaps, if we're wise, they'll find us ready for peace rather than war." As the battered Vanguard continued its journey home, Earth was visible in the distance, no longer a world under imminent threat of destruction, but a planet with a future. A future that humanity had fought for and won, not through overwhelming force, but through ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to take risks when extinction was the alternative. The Concordat had ordered Earth to surrender. Instead, humanity had unleashed its fleet and changed the course of galactic history.